Hey there, my name is Matt Baker, and this is my project presentation for ID 202. The title for this project is Stick Control Bootcamp, which ties together the project's um, two main aspects. In the title there, you have the what and the how. The what, or the topic, is stick control, and the how, or the method, is bootcamp or basic training, and I'll say more about that in a moment as well. And I'm going to try to get through this really fast because I don't have access to my normal equipment, and I'm using this sort of trial version of screen recording thing, and it only gives me 15 minutes, so I got to try to get through this quickly. So here we go. So the topic and rationale. Okay, stick control. What are we talking about here? Um, well, I've been a drummer for most of my life. I picked up my first pair of drumsticks when I was 8 years old. I'm 42 today. And although I don't currently teach, I did give private lessons for many years. And one of the things I became aware of through that experience was there is a widespread gap in knowledge about these basic sticking types and the underlying physical principles like economy of motion, which make efficient sticking possible. And it's this gap that I found often leads to performance deficiencies in um, different areas: speed, accuracy, strength, and confidence as well. So this is something I didn't learn about until much later on in my musical career. And so for whatever reason, this is something of a developmental gap. It's something that is rarely taught for whatever reason. The other part of the story here that is biographical is that when I graduated high school back in 95, I joined the Marine Corps and headed down to Parris Island for boot camp. There's a lot I could say about that experience, but one thing I want to mention is when I finished those, I guess it was 12 or 14 weeks, I can't remember. But when I finished that, I was in the best physical shape of my life. Well, why? Because the thing is, when you're down there, you're physically active all day, for starters, and there's a real emphasis placed on physical education. And there are really just three main movements or exercises Marines are made to do, or they make use of to build strength and endurance: running, sit ups, push ups, and pull ups. That's it. It's like everything, there's no special equipment, there's no fancy gym. So, yeah, it's just kind of through this day in, day out repetition of those three basic movements that really whips the body into shape. And the same is true for drumming. If you want to get into shape, it's all about repetition of basic movements. So that's what this course is really all about. It's all about teaching students a handful of basic concepts, a handful of basic gestures, and then imprinting students with those gestures through repetition and applying them to a variety of patterns so that those movements become second nature. And this improves performance as a consequence. Okay, needs assessment. As I alluded to in the previous slide, there's not a whole lot of information on this topic out there. You can find it if you look, but as I mentioned, it's not commonplace or widespread at all among the drumming public. And certainly there's nothing systematic concerning it. Uh, and conversations that I've had with a few other subject matter experts have confirmed that as well. So the target audience here is drummers in the US and Canada, ages 14 and up, who have been playing for at least 18 months and can read basic notation. There's no database to tap into here, as the audience is not unified under any organizational umbrella, but it's more of sort of a diaspora, so to speak. I know that's not at all the right word, but um, these are individuals that are just spread out from all kinds of geographical, cultural backgrounds, who simply share a common artistic interest, and that's what unites them. So what this means is that reaching this kind of audience poses some challenges that will need to be addressed, but one way to do that is an online survey, and that can help. That can be a good way of conducting needs assessment and reaching all those people. The basic content of the proposed program shouldn't really require later revision or updating except to meet aesthetic preferences and or to incorporate feedback from the formative review process. So there are a lot of materials to be created, some documents, some video content, all of which is feasible with minimal cost. But this is going to take some time to draft, review, and produce given the limited resources available at this time. So again, the resources are adequate, but they're limited. Okay. So this is my goal statement. Students will learn and demonstrate foundational principles and techniques associated with stick control, such as economy of motion, ergonomics, basic sticking types, as well as the relationship between these, all leveraged toward the goal of measurable improvements in key performance areas. By the end of the course, students will indicate a measurable improvement relating to key performance areas of speed, control, endurance, and mental confidence. And then there's a secondary goal here, is an increase in attitudes regarding the value of practice for improving performance. And these are going to be measured by comparing the student data that's gathered before and after the course. Instructional analysis. Okay, so three main buckets here. Context analysis. So until I receive more quantifiable data from the online needs assessment survey, a lot of this is admittedly based on anecdotal evidence from myself and other SMEs. I've already talked a little bit about the resource and time requirements. But because the plan is to conduct this course in an online space, there is some legitimate concern about students who may reinforce poor technique due to the lack of in-person real-time feedback, correction, and instruction. But that can be somewhat overcome by additional direct instruction as needed via Zoom video conferencing. And I may say more about that later. But there's also the advantage of online learning in the sense that students would have access to all of the instructional materials around the clock. Now some of the delivery methods have been chosen, albeit tentatively, and I'll maybe talk about that in a little bit. Learner analysis, the target audience here, non and semi-professional student drummers, ages 14 to adulthood. Anyone younger than that isn't going to really possess the different kinds of capacities necessary to successfully complete this instruction. Students have to be able to kind of, they need to be literate, not only in terms of reading text, but music, a minimum of that. Yeah, that's expected there. Students will have to have some experience. I'm saying 18 months of drumming experience. Have a basic understanding of notation and drumming vocabulary by that time. So because musicians are kind of motivated by intrinsic factors, you know, they want to get better. They want to just, you know, keep improving and keep getting better at their craft. And so it's not so much about passing or failing. This isn't what motivates musicians. And in fact, if you kind of frame things in that way, that could be a demotivating factor. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is that drummers often find it challenging committing to a daily practice regimen, such as this course is going to demand. And there's a number of different reasons for that, but one of the advantages of kind of presenting this course or framing it out as a 30-day challenge is that people understand what this means, right? It's all about improving yourself in some way, and this is what motivates artists and musicians and drummers. So as I've already mentioned, this class is going to take place in an online environment, and at the moment I'm not planning to use a learning management software, but that may change if this first idea doesn't pan out. This is why the formative review process is very important, especially at the beginning. But yeah, at this point, the plan is to make use of Facebook as the main course space. I think this is adequate as a content and communication platform, and this can be supplemented with Zoom video conferencing. I've had a lot of good luck with that in a number of different situations and contexts, and that'll be used for the synchronous portions of the course. And these are great. These are functional. They're free. Everyone has access to them, and even if people have don't currently, for example, have a Facebook account, there's that level of familiarity that is going to reduce sort of anxiety about getting signed up and having to learn a new technology. So we'll see how that goes. Instructional objectives. I'm not gonna read them here, but there they are. I will just point out that most of these are sort of performance related, and that two of them are sort of more representation or cognitive. So yeah, okay. So there's 4 modules. That's how this is going to be broken out, the instruction. And overall, this is the assessment's really going to heavily depend on performance evaluations, because the overarching goal is, again, improved performance. And so this is going to necessitate the student's ability to record and upload video to Facebook, most likely, or perhaps YouTube. That's something that needs to be sort of nailed down. But considerations, all those considerations will have to be worked out. Let's see, what else? So yeah, as I said, each module centers on performance, which students will complete, and then they're going to upload these videos. This is 60% of the grade. This is really the centerpiece of the course. There's weekly discussions, as I mentioned earlier, will take place via Zoom. This is also an opportunity for further interaction for the students to pose questions, receive additional kinds of direct instruction as appropriate during those times. And then there's a few graded quizzes and assessments. That's 20% of the grade. Let's see, what else? Yeah, and as I said, because this really isn't a pass or fail sort of situation, but about demonstrating mastery of concepts and skills, the regular like A, B, C, D, or that kind of thing isn't too exciting. So students are going to be quote unquote graded according to these categories of student, semi-professional, professional, and master, and there are percentages associated with those. Instructional materials. I'm not going to say a lot about this. There's not. I've already talked about this at different points. The truth is that there's a lot of objects that need to be either curated or created, and I'll leave it at that for the time being. But again, there's a combination of quizzes and rubrics and different kinds of materials that will need to be put together, and some have. Evaluation plan. So there's 3 phases in here. Each they're all kind of overlapping. Phase 1 is going to be consist mainly of expert and peer review. Make sure that everything that we're putting together in terms of content, the scope, the sequencing, the documents, and all of that is tightened up and it looks good. And so this is going to be carried out in a number of different ways, in person conversations, as well as survey data will factor in. And yeah, so that's the first phase. Phase 2 will be